with Elberton Net, but
Stuff with Alberton Net.
they're about to lose my business because this is ridiculous. This is costing me money right now.
Okay, guys, we are live again, so let's hopefully wait everybody to come in on this one. We're doing it via the phone, and Robin will be back in here in a second to hopefully.
You said speed easy.
I'm doing a live stream now,
I'm aware of that. Give me one more second.
and so hold on. Internet's trying to make her run a whole bunch
It's
of
not
things.
even Elberton. That's the other fun part. Speed easy.
So
There's a little speed check.
Forward. You said speedeasy.net/speed test, right?
your birthday didn't curse it. I'm so happy that we reached your birthday goal for you tonight this early.
Okay, it's saying check my internet speed, but it's like there's all kinds of. I don't understand this website.
What's up, Naturally NC? Duncan.
This is all related to. This doesn't even have. It's speed SPEED easy.net.
What's up, JNC? Guys, just bear with us while we go through this for a second, and then Robin will take over my phone. We'll introduce our guest, and then we'll kind of let him take over the live stream for a little while. And I'm going to have a little bit of fun. I'm going to show you... Whoa, that was fast. What just happened? I think we just got a super chat.
Oh.
Thank you, Dragon's Talon.
Okay. See, that gauge is up to only 100 as well. So I don't know if it's just. I think it's.
Frustration tip for you, Robin.
Tell me my login.
And to be able to buy this, to make the soap to wash your mouth out for after talking with the cable company. All right, let me see here, y'all, for a second. I'm kind of frustrated here. Let me see if I can find a place to put you guys up for a second till Robin gets back. Okay, guys, thank you for bearing with us. There's obviously something going on with the internet because our upload speed is 1.7, and that's nowhere near what we're paying for.
Yeah.
So that's a bad thing. So we gotta turn that down. And you put this over here, so now we can see the chat better over here. Unfortunately, there'll be no dancing bears if anybody, and that's bad because I really wanted you to be able to see that because we got this cool thing when somebody subscribes to the channel,
Right.
A dancing bear comes up. And
Really?
It's a bear that's dancing, and then when we get a super chat,
Yeah.
a bear comes up that is kind of like Robin calls it the stripper pole bear.
Stripper pole
But
bear. Okay.
it's just a bear scratching his back on a tree.
All right.
But
That's cool.
yeah. So now why is that buffering while I'm on my phone? It's just got to be our internet.
It's the internet. It's just everybody's sheltering
It's just
in place.
everybody's sheltering in place.
That's what it's
So
gotta be.
because my phone is not
No, your
acting like a
phone's doing
buffering or anything, so it's got to be something that they're doing right there to our internet as we're doing it now. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and introduce yourself, Doc, because I'm not gonna butcher your last name.
Right.
And go ahead and introduce yourself. And this, guys, this is the guy that I've been bragging on for like the last 2 months. This is the gentleman that has made my life so pain-free and it made my kids' life harder because I can keep up with them now. But Doc, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well,
give a little bit of your background.
You get lucky occasionally sometimes when you fool around with these little needles. My name is Dr. Jim, and my last name is long, and it's Greek, but it's pronounced Kaptanakis, and I am a acupuncture doctor over in Anderson, South Carolina. And so Jason has been a patient of mine for how long? Maybe about 2-3 months?
2-3 months now,
2-3 months, yeah. And he came in And at the time, he could hardly really, I mean, he could barely walk.
Yeah.
You were pretty stiff.
Yeah, I was hurting.
I mean, he was walking almost robotically, and I was like, this guy, I mean, he's having a hard time twisting and bending, and he just had a lot of tension, like in his low back, and it just radiated down into his legs, and really got to a point where it was, you know, it was a day-to-day thing, wasn't it? Yeah. And so we just did a few little points in his back, and you know what I do is I do use some big needles, so I don't really use a very conventional method of. I don't know if any of you guys out there have had acupuncture before, but I don't really practice a traditional style. So over the years, I've kind of modified my style, and I use some big needles when it comes to these these tension related problems, low back pain. So I went pretty deep into his hips and into his SI joints, and it just released everything. And so he just, after a treatment or two, he just got a lot better. And so yeah, I mean, it worked out great. And so I love what he's doing here with the homestead thing. And we're not, my family's not really homesteaders, but we're kind of approaching that. You know, so we're in that mindset. So I'm happy to be here with you folks.
Well, let me get this all the way caught up to where we are. Right there.
Okay.
Hold on. City Girl Country Heart asked if you take, what was it? She asked what you took. Let me see. Where's it at? Boom, 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 boom. Where did her comment go? That many people commented before. Oh, that's why. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me see.
So
The WellCare medical insurance. Do you take that?
Well, insurance is funny with what I do. Now with Jason, he's a VA patient, so I've been taking VA. I've been a VA provider probably for 7 years, and you know, United Healthcare, Aetna, a few Blue Cross plans take it, but it's kind of hit or miss.
Yeah, and the VA just came around within what, the last 3-4 years?
Yeah, it's been several years. They've had different plans. They do battlefield acupuncture. They've been doing that for a long time.
For a long time.
Yeah, so somebody's in the field and they are opioid or morphine resistant. You got to do something to kind of moderate their pain. So that's what they've been using. Usually that's an ear thing, but I take a few. I don't. The only thing I really file in-house is the VA, but there's like I said, Aetna, United Healthcare. There's a few little plans out there. So. But anyway, yeah, just he's done great, and a lot of my VA patients have done. So I work on pain, neuropathy, low back pain, neck pain, headaches. I just do a lot of pain related conditions.
The one day that I came to you and I just made that step wrong, and my upper back tightened up. Mm-hmm. I was hurting for a day, 2 days, and it wasn't loosening up. Within like 30 seconds, you had it gone.
It can work quick.
Yeah.
It can work really quick. Yeah, that's the cool thing about it. I mean, you put them in. Like I said, I don't really do it in a traditional way. I kind of put the needles in. I manipulate the needles. Sometimes I'll actually put electricity to the needles, and so that's kind of cool. But and really shock a nerve. If a nerve
shocks a nerve.
I mean, it gets your attention. But
that's a good way to put it.
And sometimes it can be a little. It can be a little. I wouldn't say painful, but it can be a little uncomfortable. Let's just say that. But it's like a fleeting moment, and then it kind of goes away.
You're kidding. There's sometimes when you hit it, I'm like, oh,
yeah,
and you're like, there it is, and I'm like,
right.
I'm so tired of hearing there it is.
That's right. But you got to kind of talk your patient down a little bit. But I've been doing it like 22, 23 years now. Doing it a long time.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, have you ever treated people with fibromyalgia, wondering if fibropain or burning skin day would be painful adding needles?
Good question. Yes, I treat people with fibromyalgia a lot. Fibromyalgia is kind of a catch-all type diagnosis. Usually fibromyalgia, it can be due to a previous injury. It could be due to some sort of medication reaction. And that's the first thing I ask people. It's like, okay, if you've got fibromyalgia, are you taking a new medicine? Or is it there's some sort of new medication that's added into your routine? And that a lot of times can change things, whether it's a statin, or it's a new high blood pressure medicine, or it's some sort of diabetes med, that kind of thing. So that's usually what I ask people that have fibro. But yeah, I work on fibromyalgia a lot, and it does help. It really does.
I know what you do with me helps. We're kind of waiting on Robin to kick this thing off.
So we're going to do a demo and all. Yeah.
So he's going to, I did not get my treatment yesterday, mostly because of the Georgia lockdown, and I didn't want to have to argue with a policeman or anything to try to get over there. And he said he would come, and I said, well, let's just do it live. And so we're going to do this live, and hopefully we'll get him to come back again and do it again live. It may be next weekend, and he'll bring the medieval torture device. It really depends on what happens with the whole lockdown, everything.
Right. Well, South Carolina is not shelter in place, but our boat ramps have been shut down, which I can't, for the love of me, figure out why that's the case. That doesn't make any sense.
Where are you located in Anderson?
Okay. Anderson, if y'all are familiar with Anderson, it is about 25 miles south of Greenville. If y'all don't know where Greenville is, let's say I'm going to have to try to figure,
Yeah, we can't help you.
Greenville is like another 70, 80 miles south of Charlotte, so we'll go with that. But I am right off Highway 81, which is, a main thoroughfare in Anderson, and I'm right across the street from a part of ANMed, the newer hospital that ANMed has. Is called the Health Campus.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Now, I got a question for you. Is there with us, the homesteaders, we have a community, we have a group. And so if somebody was to reach out to me in here when they was coming in for the first time, and they were like, hey, Jason, do you know anybody where I could go buy some farm fresh eggs from, but I live in Arkansas. And I would be like, absolutely. Go over to Roots and Refuge or VW Family Farm, Trip 8. I always call him Triple H, but it's Trip H.
Triple H, man. That's a shout out to the wrestling community.
That's old school.
That's right.
And so I kind of refer the people that I know that kind of do it the way that we do it.
Right.
Does your type of profession have that? So if some of our people in here want to explore this type of therapy or pain treatment,
right?
Do you have a group that you know of that you could refer them to?
Good question. Yeah, I do. I mean, I keep up with other acupuncturists, that are within the regional area. And if let's say you're in the Columbia area, or maybe in Atlanta, I could possibly link you up with a real competent doctor.
Cool.
Sure thing.
So even if you're not in the Anderson area, hey, he can send me an email if you want to explore this. We'll see where you guys are and see if he knows anybody in that area, and we can kind of get you hooked up with somebody that does this. So, you ready to take over the camera? You calm down?
Just be glad I'm not the one.
Ooh, stop it.
I'm not the one stabbing you.
Why are you mad at me?
I'm not. I'm just saying,
You got something to calm her down? Like one of them big needles?
No, I'm good. It's just, yeah. No, it's just, one of my biggest peeves ever is incompetence.
Yeah.
And it's without getting completely detailed. That's all I'm dealing with is incompetence, and that's very frustrating when you're paying almost $200 a month for a service that can't even
Yeah, I mean.
And you try to talk to people and they don't listen, and that's my other peeve is like you're trying to communicate with somebody and they don't listen to you. So,
yeah, that's frustrating.
But
Now, before Robin takes over the camera, because we're going to do my hands first, I want to illustrate something, okay? When I first started, and a lot of you guys that's been around for a long time know that I used to not be able to do this with either hand.
yeah.
Okay? Now, it's getting near the time for my treatment, and that's about as far as I can get right now with this hand. Okay? Watch after the treatment. I'm telling you. Because when I try to do this, it hurts all down in here, and this is all kind of like super tight. So, we're going to give the camera to Robin. I'm going to go ahead and turn it around for her.
All right.
Don't look at that. Okay.
All right.
Alrighty.
Well, Jason, I mean, maybe you want to explain how your hands kind of got. I know you gave me a rundown a while back, but I mean, he was in the Marines for many moons, and I mean, I know he's probably done a few things that have created, but he's got some arthritis in his hands. There's no two ways about it. It's not that bad, but it's bad enough that over a period of time, he works really hard out here on this farm, and it aggravates it. And that's what we're trying to do is get in really between these little bones of his hands and break up the inflammation and there kind of promote the blood flow. And so that's sort of the approach here. But I don't really remember how you kind of got your hands so tore up, but when he first came in, they were rough.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, there was the first time. Was there not scar tissue? Like it was like just kind of bounced.
Really
The needle bent the first time.
Bend a needle too.
Yeah.
So anyhow, I don't remember. Was there one particular incident that you did that busted your hands up? Or?
Yeah, I remember.
Yes, Terry. I'll go ahead and I'll get you his information. Terry is in Anderson, so
Is she? Okay.
yeah.
Cool. Right across the street from the new hospital on Highway 81. That's kind of where I'm at.
Right down from the Burger King and the
Bojangles.
right in between the Burger King and the Walmart
I
Market.
need you to speak up, Doc.
Oh, I'm talking a little too low. All right, so here what we're going to do. These are all little bitty needles. They're about 1 inch long, and they're maybe 36 gauge, so they're kind of flimsy like the E string of a guitar. So I'm just going to take this little needle, and I'm going to flip it, and I'm just going to ease it on in, and that's that.
Okay, you see the little purple thing sticking out of his hand?
A little plastic purple tip on it, so we got it, and you take it. It's going in maybe about 1/4 inch right here. This is the shallow pull into the pool here as far as the treatment.
Oh yeah.
So we're just flipping it. And I tell people, they say, how do you know, I mean, what does it take to be a good acupuncturist? I say, well, if you're a good paper football player, that helps.
I did so much bad.
I mean, I'm just trying to be straight up with people. If you know how to flick, you know, back in grade school, I mean, you know, you made the little paper footballs and you flicked. I think some other kids flicked other things too, but we ain't gonna talk about that.
Boogers.
Nathan probably did that, or ate them.
So
This says mine uses whips before needles. It sounds a little kinky there.
little kinky over there. Okay.
So that's where we're at right
Oh, you're
now.
not gonna go between the knuckles?
Yeah, I'm just kind of, this is phase 1.
This is phase 1. I used to play tabletop football all the time.
There you go.
That's Tinker's wife. She's funny.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Wipes, not whips.
I was like, whips is bad, Cecilia. You can imagine. I would flick a booger, but I never ate any.
All right, so we're just flicking. That's kind of really the whole technique, you know. You just kind of flick. You just take it and you flick it on in there. feels a few of them, but sometimes you'll hit a nerve. And you just kind of. This is really,
Yeah, naturally North Carolina.
he's sort of sheltered in place during this treatment.
Uh-huh.
He can't move. I've kind of nailed him down.
Literally.
Yeah. Okay.
Sounded more interesting as whips. I know, right? I was like,
All right, so I don't really leave them in very long. So a lot of these acupuncturists, they leave the needles in for an extended period. I really don't leave them in too long. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna peck around, and then I'm gonna pull it out. Now it bleeds occasionally, so they will bleed. Okay, so peck around, pull it out, peck around, pull it out.
Copper Kettle wants to know, what's the science behind this?
The science, good question. Well, what we're doing is we're getting in between his knuckles and in his joints here that are inflamed, and we're pecking around with the little needle, and we're trying to promote some blood flow. But another thing that happens, actually, which is kind of cool, is we're creating a little bit of inflammation by putting the needle in itself. So what that does is that sends a signal from your hand back to your brain, back to your hand to say something is not right here, and we need to do something to correct it. So it kind of resets your body's capability of the immune system and as far as healing.
Okay.
So that is another aspect of the science. So I'm going to peck around.
Come on, Doc. Hook some of those needles up to a car battery.
That's the next.
That's next.
I'm just teasing y'all a little bit.
What's it say? Robin, do you ever want to self-acupuncture Jason out of anger? Oh, yeah, all the time.
My wife wants to do that to me.
I bet.
Okay, so that.
Wait,
that
it
was
sends a
the-
signal to your brain. How does this work on Jason? Nathan.
So anyhow, yeah, now he's going to move his hands, and he's usually got a little bit better range of motion. It feels a little bit better. Sometimes they itch. You know.
Yeah, they do itch a little bit.
But there he goes. He can touch.
So Kimberly, this is something. She says my hands lock up when I crochet. I will tell you, I kind of experienced that for a little while, but I found that the more that I crocheted and I used those joints, the less I locked up. Okay. And when I stopped crocheting for a while, then they would lock back up more. So sometimes using them constantly or using them, like even if you just do a little bit project, a small project at night,
movement is a good thing.
Yeah, that usually helps.
When you have arthritis, you got to keep
moving.
It hurts sometimes, but movement is a good thing. So, and I tell some patients that have Jason's problem to soak their hands or feet in Epsom salts. That's a good thing. It's a natural sort of approach.
Will acupuncture help with someone's hand that plays the guitar?
Yes.
I would assume
I play a little guitar. And
Yeah.
So
everybody's got jokes.
Oh, the one about his ears. They're like, get the one behind his ears.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Now this one's a little weird, y'all. This one freaks me out.
One ear that's giving you trouble. So I'm going to do one behind his ear. This is funny because of the spot. I say funny, unusual.
It's unusual.
It's the first time I'm actually going to get to see it.
Okay, so what I do is I go behind his earlobe right here, and I take this and I just flick it, same kind of deal, and you can see I'm actually going in about the whole length here. So that's not really going into his eardrum or his ear canal or anything, but it's just on the outskirts of this lobe, just pecking around in there. That's where there's a nerve complex in there that I just trying to activate. Just pull it on out.
Is this the one for tinnitus? Yes.
That's the one for tinnitus.
That is the one for tinnitus.
Now, I had tinnitus in both ears. This one is just about completely gone. It's so low that the only time I actually hear it now is when everybody's asleep in the house, and I turn off the TV, and I'm actually it's like
super quiet.
Super quiet.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the only time I hear that one now. And now with this one, still when I get stressed out or get upset or something, you know, when your blood pressure and everything starts to come up, it really
Kinda
starts to go.
high-pitched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then again at night, but I don't know if we ever shared this with you, but after the first time that you treated my ears and you told me, you said, all right, now the ringing's probably still there, but it's probably going to go away in a little bit. When we went out into the
Parking
lot and we were pulling out,
We're in the Prius.
it stopped.
Really?
Kimberly, he took a bath right before the show. She's asking, should the skin be sterilized first?
Yeah.
And I kind of freaked out.
Yeah, he
Because
was.
that was like the first time in, 20 years?
Right.
That it wasn't ringing.
And what was crazy is that my car is silent when it's on the electric motor, and the regular motor kicked on, and he could hear it, and usually he can't hear it, and so when it kicked on, he was like, "Whoa,
Wow.
what is that noise?" I was like, "That's my car." He's like, "Is it always that loud?" I was like, "No, it's not really that loud." He's like, so yeah.
He really responds.
Yeah,
I mean,
really
Jason's
well.
very, I'd say pretty unique because it happens so quick with him.
Yeah.
Not everybody it works like that.
Yeah.
So.
Cecilia asked, is there a difference from leaving it in longer?
I found out over the years that a lot of times with this arthritis type stuff, if you leave them in longer, it doesn't seem to work as well by putting them in for a shorter period of time. So.
I'm not asking him that, Cheryl. I'm just saying. I'm so not asking that.
Right there.
The sadistic side of me wants to know if you can treat a man's bedroom problems and where are the needles put.
I have
Don't have that problem.
no idea.
I'm okay in that regard, at least now.
My mobile homestead says that her acupuncturist leaves them in for like an hour. Why do you pull them out so quickly?
Well, like I said, I started, very traditional, and I tried to leave them in, for the 45 minutes to the hour, and I just was not getting the results. One day, I had something going on, and I had a patient in another room, and this lady had to leave, and she was like, I need to leave. And I'd only had them in for like maybe 5 minutes, and I pulled them out, and she walked out there going, oh my God, I feel so much better. And I was like, really? So that's how it kind of started.
There was a couple I missed. It said, will it grow his beard back?
Will acupuncture help with, what is that? Bruising?
Bursitis.
Bursitis, yes. I work on bursitis a lot, sure do. Yeah, bursitis, arthritis, neuropathy, neuralgia. Neuralgia is basically a fancy medical term for nerve pain. I work, fibromyalgia. Myalgia means muscle pain. Headaches. Let's see what else.
You do like migraines and stuff, right?
Headaches.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do a lot of that kind of thing. A lot of pain. Pain is kind of what I work on more than anything.
So, yeah, will it help with fibro? Yes.
Yeah.
See, we have a little bit of a lag, so sometimes the questions will come in a little bit before what you say. So,
Okay.
anyway, so yeah.
Yeah, pain is, that's what I work on more. When I first started, people wanted me to do more relaxational, anxiety, which I do some, but most of the time people come in, they're hurting.
Right.
And they just, so I'm kind of like a chiropractor with needles.
There you go.
Yeah, basically.
My migraines always disappeared after I got acupuncture. Yeah, that's,
Cool.
yeah. So, all right. So,
Oh, any questions, y'all?
Yeah. Can acupuncture be used on people with epilepsy?
It can. Actually, what's happening with epilepsy, that I'm seeing a combination of the acupuncture with the CBD oil. But they're really good, strong CBD oil. There's a difference.
no, there is, yeah.
You can get your, your quick trip Waffle House brand, and
Right.
that's not going to get it done. And a lot of people are ripping people off with that CBD oil.
That's this, right?
Yeah, now that's good. That's like a pharmaceutical grade type of CBD salve. So what they're doing is they're combining the CBD oil with the acupuncture treatments, and it's helping with limiting seizures.
Naked Gardener says if you have tiger blood, you're immune to
Tiger blood.
it. I can't read them as fast because they go up and down the screen, but
Yeah, that's all I said. All right, let's do the ones I don't really like looking forward
Alright.
to.
now this one's really funny, y'all. So
Okay.
I'm really glad that y'all can't actually feedback with How about CRPS? What is that? I don't know what CRPS is.
CRPS. I'm trying to. What is it? What's the acronym? I'm familiar with it. I've heard of it.
What about for someone who has had a back fusion but still has pain?
Work on a lot of people post-op people.
RSD.
Reflex sympathetic dystrophy. Yes, worked on that. Sure have.
Oh, CRPS is complex regional pain syndrome.
Yes, absolutely. Anything that has to do with pain, this is what I deal with.
Need an issue somehow.
Yeah. Okay, so now Jason's a big guy, and we're using some really long needles here.
That's his polite way of saying I got a ghetto booty.
How well does this work for knees with arthritis?
Well, I mean, knees and elbows and hands, and everybody's different. It's kind of hard to really say, okay, you're going to have the same kind of results that Jason's having. But typically, if you respond pretty well, if you've had it before, this type of acupuncture is a little different than the traditional type. You're probably going to respond pretty well to it. Yeah. So. Okay, so here we go. So what I'm going to do with him here, we're going to be on sacral iliac joints. Okay, so people that have sciatic nerve pain, which is that's the number one thing that I work on a daily basis. And so basically your nerves
come around
down
on the other
out
side.
of your back.
It's hard to see from that side.
So you got your nerves that come down from your low back, your lumbar sacral region, and then they start, kind of extending out laterally here, and then they run down deep into your what they call iliac joint. Well, that joint's got a couple muscles and a couple ligaments, and there's a junction in there. Now that junction is where that nerve runs. And Jason, what was happening with him, he was having pain, but he was having a lot of stiffness.
Right.
As much as I think the pain. So what we were doing is we were going into that joint and trying to break up the congestion in that joint. So this looks pretty wild, I know, folks, but it's very, very effective. So I'll have the patient stand up. I don't like laying them down on the table. And what I'll do is I'll flick the needle again, take it, bring it back, work it all the way down into that joint, and then pull it right out. And that's usually not as tight as it has been. Okay.
Jason, I can see your booty crack.
And yeah, I see a lot of booty cracks on a daily basis. Lots of booty cracks. Some I like to see, some I don't really care to see, but that's just the kind of the way it works.
That's just the way it is.
Okay, same kind of deal over here on this side. We're just working it. And I'm working it every bit of 6.5, 7 inches deep in there, pulling it out. And that's what we got. And then, what I'm going to do with him, we're going to go into his
The hip, yeah.
joint.
Because this is where he has the hardest problem.
Okay, so we kind of come back.
Kimberly said, oh, hell no.
I know people are tripping out on this.
Oh, yeah.
Same kind of deal. We're just flipping it and working it. And he's going to feel it a little bit. Just peck around and pull out. Okay.
He's really Goldberg. He's really just all he's basically saying is he's going in almost like 6 inches, and he's kind of pushing around in the.
Let's turn this way. Let's see. This other way.
I can go. I mean, I can come back.
This is other hip, right hip, same kind of deal. I'm going really behind the ball and socket part of the hip where people get their arthritis and bursitis. And just trying to break up any congestion. When I say congestion, I mean he feels that one.
Yeah,
So
and every time. Yeah.
There we go. And pull it out. And he's done. He did good.
And that's it.
So when I say congestion, I mean
Make him work. Smoking Reptile's like, I just got here. What is he doing? Acupuncture.
So what happens is you got muscles that are layered. If you look at the anatomy chart, and then you got all this connective tissue, ligaments and tendons. And so what'll happen is you'll have a muscle or a ligament or a tendon that'll jump in front of another group. When that happens, it draws up. And when it draws up like that over time, it starts to tighten and stiffen, and then people start to compensate on how they walk. You know, they start walking almost like they're Frankenstein. You know, and they just don't have a good range of motion, and then over time, it can lead to chronic pain. Not just stiffness, but you can have, like, pain running down your leg at different times. You can twist, pick something up, and I'll have this excruciating burning type pain that runs down your leg, and it becomes a daily nightmare.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what was going on with Jason.
Yep.
So we've sort of broke that up, I think.
Yeah.
One of the. I'm gonna switch that around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they don't have to have my jumpy hand.
Does it work on scoliosis?
That's a good question. Scoliosis is, you know, a real variable type of disorder. You know, scoliosis means that the patient's got a curve in their spine. If you have a very slight curve in your spine, yeah, we can work in there where the muscles are. You've got one side of your spine that's going to compensate more because it's kind of bending, and a lot of times I have good results. Now, if you have a really pronounced big S curve in your spine like that, that's very problematic. And sometimes people have surgery when they're, you know, kids. They go to Shriners and have extensive surgery on their spine. Scoliosis is a big problem if you have a bad curve, you know, bad problem. So
Somebody asked earlier, would this help that they had back surgery, and I think it was the yellow rose.
Yeah, he asked if he had a back fusion and if he still has pain. He answered that.
Oh, you answered that one?
did I? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I work on people that have had 3 and 4 back surgeries or neck surgeries.
Well,
mean,
that was the problem that we had when Jason was first diagnosed with all of his issues. The doctor even told us, like, look, I can put you under the needle and we can fix it for right now, but I can't promise you that in 6 months we'll be right back to having another surgery again.
Right.
So that was the thing, is that it doesn't surprise me when you've had somebody who's had 1, 2, 3
multiple
surgeries, because you know that just.
But the problem is scar tissue. Yeah. That's the problem, because the more you get cut on, the more scar tissue occurs, and then the nerves can get intertwined with scar tissue. So sometimes you can trade one pain for another
For
pain.
a different one.
Yeah. So
That makes sense.
So what's the difference between like what you do and what all of us kids seen Steven Seagal do in that one movie back in the day when he did the acupuncture to himself, and he had like incense off of. Because that's a type of acupuncture too,
it is.
right?
That Steven Seagal stuff is like real traditional. I think it's called moxa, or it's a herb called mugwort. And the Chinese believe that if you burn that herb on the tip of that needle, it can actually go into the meridian and warm up, you know, that meridian complex. It's a little, I never thought it had a whole lot of scientific basis, you know. And when I first started doing it and burn it, people thought I was back there smoking weed.
Right. I can see that.
because it smells a lot like marijuana.
Right.
It really does. So I mean, I was working with doctors when I first started doing it, and I would one lady requested it, and then people were coming back there going, "What are you doing?" And I ain't smoking anything.
Goldberg family asked, are there any recommendations to get a good pain cream? Is it CBD? We're already working on his diet for fibromyalgia. So it's something for fibromyalgia. I guess the quick answer to that is the CBD is what?
The CBD is what I think. I mean, you got to find the right type. This stuff that
This one here I've been hitting.
Ritual X. I think the company's out of North Carolina. It's pharmaceutical grade. There's a doctor, an MD, who founded this company, and they've got drops, and I mean it can be almost as powerful as the law allows as far as the drops, but the cream is really good. Works real well.
So Tori says, my ex-husband had a few back surgeries. It didn't seem to help him. He's still a functional addict to pain medication. I think avoiding surgery and trying anything else is worth a try. And that is exactly what we were looking at, was the fact that if he had surgery, he does not want to take any kind of pain medicine.
Well, I was not. They were the VA was giving me the narcotic, the hydrocodone. And that was right about the time when you started hearing about all the vets getting addicted to it,
Right.
And it was causing more harm than good. And I'm like, I'm not putting that in my body. I'm just not doing it.
Right. Well, I mean, I've got a lot of patients that are in their 70s, and some of them are Vietnam vets, and they've had multiple surgeries, and they take a lot of medicine, and we try to wean them off if we can, but some of them, I mean, it's just a part of life.
Good night, Karen. Karen was saying she's happy that you found something that works for them.
So I work with people. I try to wean them off if all possible.
Terry says since she was 12, she's had random hand swelling with itching and pain. What was help? I mean, anything's worth a shot.
It's worth a shot, certainly. Yeah. But yeah, Jason responds great to it, and I have a lot of people that do just like him. I mean, they come in once or twice and they feel a whole lot better.
Yeah. Yeah, but I can tell, like that the week that I got sick and couldn't come in. Oh Lord have mercy! I could not get to your office fast enough.
That week,
I felt like I
miserable.
pushed us all the way
back and had to start
all the way
over.
back and had to start over. It's definitely something with, at least from my injuries and with it kind of like going with no treatment for so long as it did, I think this is going to be something that, I mean, we're basically almost like family now.
We'll just do some maintenance stuff, but I don't think it'll ever go back to where it was before.
Well, I don't
think so.
I hope not, because my girls are in there. They kind of they enjoy somewhat me being able, because I can actually run around and mess with them now.
Yeah, you can do stuff you
I couldn't do
before.
last year. I'm doing stuff that I could, I'm out in my wood shop
more productive
now.
When Blaze was still here, he didn't like it because instead of Jason laying up most of the day because he was in pain, he was out there on top of him like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that?
Right.
Tori asked, did I hear you mention fibromyalgia as well? Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So there's the the nasty words are in there. Nate was talking about how he was on Flexeril and gabapentin and all of the ones that the VA absolutely loves to prescribe.
Right.
And unfortunately, they're no good. And several people in the chat have either been on them, are on them, and definitely not something you want to stay on. They're not. Gabapentin is messy because you can't just quit gabapentin. You have to literally wean yourself off of it, and it's not something quick. Like you have to do it over what was it, like a month or 2 months.
A lot of side effects with gabapentin.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Big time.
Well, that tramadol, that was the one your dad was on, wasn't it?
Yes, tramadol. And you know, they used to say that tramadol was not something that you could really get, you know, but my dad literally, when we moved from one location to the other, it took a while to get his prescriptions transferred over.
Mm-hmm.
So he went for about a month without his tramadol, and he went psycho. Like, we had some serious withdrawal issues that we had to deal with. So,
tramadol's an opiate, definitely. I mean, it can cause withdrawal, sure can. But yeah, I see a lot of people that take a lot of pain medicine.
Well, even Terry's saying she takes naproxen for bursitis, arthritis, and other pain.
I mean, I got people who take tons and tons of Tylenol.
Yeah. I mean,
you know, and that is bad too, because if you take, you know, more than 2,000 milligrams a day of Tylenol over, you know, an extended period of time, it can mess with your liver.
I'll give you a good example. I was killing myself on ibuprofen.
And ibuprofen.
I mean, like, to the point that I gave myself an ulcer.
Right.
And, like, put a hole. I mean, like, it was bad.
Yep.
The best part about that whole story, though, was finding out that coconut oil and cayenne pepper fixed it. So it took a little while.
Sure.
But I started using
because the prescription medication was just stupid expensive.
It's like $200 that they wanted to give me.
And we had you guys know him, Icebox Farms, Steve. He is a doctor, and a pediatrician, I think. Wasn't he a pediatrician?
I don't know.
He was a family doctor.
He was a doctor, right?
And he basically kind of told us, he's like, you know, the same stuff that's in, because he looked at the prescription, and because you know, with y'all, only other doctors and pharmacists can read y'all scribble.
Not good.
So he looked at the prescription. He said the stuff that they're prescribing. He said you can take a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons?
There's a tablespoon of coconut oil and
then sprinkle a tablespoon of cayenne pepper on everything you eat. He said now it's going to take twice as long. He said, but it's better for you.
Oh yeah.
He said it'll heal much more naturally. Like it'll
helps your ulcer.
Yeah. Literally, I had one like right up in here, I think, somewhere, and it was like it was bad.
Wow.
And because it masked itself as like some kind of like a upper GI kind of thing.
Yeah, like you had GERD or something. Yeah.
Everybody's asking, or somebody's asking about Guillain-Barré syndrome.
I have heard of that, Guillain-Barré. Now that's a weird syndrome. That's where I think, and tell me if I'm wrong. Is that when like you? I mean, it's like out of nowhere paralysis, that kind of thing. Is that?
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is.
I think that's what it is. I had an older patient one time that had it, where basically, I mean, I think it comes out of I hate to use this word, comes from a virus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think Guillain-Barré is something, a syndrome that comes as a result of catching some sort of viral problem. I may be wrong, but I think that's what it is, and it's terrible because it paralyzes you, and you have these almost like ALS type, you know, where you can't move.
Yes, paralysis often related to live vaccines.
Yeah, okay, live vaccines or maybe some sort of viral
I've never heard of that.
Yeah. It's strange.
All right, Mrs. Naked Gardener. Hey, now he has. If you want to try this, for your fibro, hit us up and we'll get, because he has.
Well, they're planning on coming down here next weekend, so maybe we can. Staying away from support groups for fibro helps me. I can deal with the negative. Yeah, and that's what Tori was saying, is that what she's medications never really worked for her. She has to combat everything with healthy eating. Staying away from negativity and stress in general helps her maintain her level of pain much better. But that's what Cheryl's saying. I can't deal with negativity and miserable attitudes. If you have fibro, you have to keep positive, or you lie in a bed and waste away. Yeah, I had Bell's palsy.
Bell's palsy, I work on that a lot.
Really?
A lot. I saw a girl just this past week. If you catch me quick, with that. I can turn that around rather.
She's
rather
had it
fast.
for 4 years. So.
4 years. It would take some time, but I could probably help you with that. Or some acupuncturists that we use a lot of electricity with that too. Now we do a lot of shocking with that.
Tinker's wife said it's the Guillain-Barré is a rare neurological disorder in which the body's immune system attacks part of its peripheral nervous system by mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Now, people can use acupuncture to relieve stress, right?
Yes. We do these little points on the ears, and that's kind of like the battlefield acupuncture. You got the vagus nerve that runs to your ear here, and it has a lot to do when you stimulate that nerve. Has a lot to do with activating serotonin and cortisol in the body, and that sometimes can help minimize or moderate your stress level, anxiety level.
Now, is there any acupuncture that you can do for maybe stuff like PTSD, depression?
You can,
anything stuff like that.
Very similar. What I just said. The ear points. You put the needles in. Sometimes people feel a little, kind of like grounded. I mean, it's not like you're taking a Valium or anything that's that powerful.
Right.
But it's real subtle, and over a period of time, it can really knock your stress level down. So I do that, from time to time. But PTSD, we work with a good bit of that. Sure do. But mostly pain. That's kind of.
I wonder if the VA is ever going to get on board with PTSD. Nice.
Yes, yeah.
And you would be filled up probably.
I've got a few of them.
Yeah.
I've got a few of them. The Vietnam guys, they're still struggling with it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah. Sure are.
Okay.
Cool, y'all. Any other questions?
They're still talking about what Bell's palsy is.
Bell's palsy, yeah, and we don't really know how Bell's palsy comes. I mean, it's kind of a theory, If somebody says that maybe it's a virus, somebody says, you under some sort of, stress-related.
Now, is that what Michael J. Fox has?
No,
Because that's the same thing your uncle has, right? It's the same
not
thing.
Bell's palsy. He has Parkinson's. Like,
Parkinson's.
yeah.
Yeah, Bell's palsy is like the whole side of your face.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it
Jim
draws
Ross
up.
had that.
Yeah, and it almost looks like you've had a lot of times
it's a
people
stroke.
think you're having a stroke. Yeah.
Nate said, I think needles treating my PTSD would give me PTSD. He's such a wimp.
I don't know.
Come on, Army guy. What's up with that?
I think, Nathan, I actually think that if you could find somebody like the doc here
Local.
around you up
Yeah.
in Tennessee, I think it would change. I think it would change your life. It is definitely has changed mine.
Yes.
Why are you saying like that?
Because a month ago you couldn't, or however many months ago, you couldn't get out there and pull those chicken tractors and then still be functional for the rest of the day. If you did it, you were laid up for the rest of the day.
That's big
I mean,
deal.
he used to have to be able to be, and I don't want to call it an armchair quarterback, but a lot of times he'd have to kind of direct us and tell us what to do because he physically could not do them. And so now he's right there in the midst of everything, and sometimes he has to be careful because he still has a few limitations, but because the biggest one is I remember him saying that he felt like his legs were attached to concrete.
I remember hearing that.
And so, and once that was gone, sometimes he has to remind himself to slow down because he will pull a muscle or something because he's just going and going and going, and then he does something that, a 20-year-old could do and wouldn't have a problem with it, but when you're 21, that's a problem. So.
Well, I mean, a couple of the prime examples is I felt free. It was like I was almost like a slave to the pain. Is the best way to put it. And when you cut my chains like you did, I remember the very first time, and you'll probably remember this when I tell you about it. I came back to the next treatment, and I'm like, I goofed because I went out there. Yeah, I went out there and I picked up that cast iron tub and moved it out of the way. and I felt it, and I was like, okay, I
Yeah,
kind of have to check
I
myself.
totally redid what you got
Yeah.
rid
Because you felt really, really
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
And because I went from going, oh, this is probably going to hurt,
Mhm.
to, oh, look, I need to get this out of the way. And
Yeah.
because
I mean, when
the
you're
brain
feeling
wasn't
good.
registering pain anymore. And so I was able to do things, and it was like when we went and got that joiner,
Mhm.
that joiner's got some weight to it.
That's big, yeah.
And
I tried to push you out of the way, but you wouldn't let me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to pick it up with the guy and put it in the back of the truck with no pain and no repercussion from it. Brought it home. Carol and I were able to pick it up and put it in my shop. No pain and no repercussion from it.
Wow, that's good.
The only things that I constantly have to, I can't sit down on the floor with the girls and do stuff. I can't sit Indian style still for a long time. And then there are some times, like a thief in the night, when I cuddle up next to
If you lay
Robin.
on one side.
If I lay on this side,
Mhm. One side, yeah.
it's like that next morning, and I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm so fat still. That it kinda cuts-
drawing.
It's
Yeah.
jamming
it wants
the
to drawing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then once I get out and start moving around,
Little
it takes a
ease.
little bit.
Yeah.
And by the time I get to the appointment, I always forget to tell you about it because it's gone then. Because the blood
once you
flow
get to
got
moving,
going.
yeah, everything kind of
Yeah.
changes.
So,
Yeah, I think we broke your pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is good.
yeah,
That's a
definitely
good
don't want
thing.
that pattern anymore.
No, don't want to get back in that.
I don't want to go back to that anymore.
No.
So that's cool. Let's see what else is going on.
They're talking about April is a nurse, and she said that there's a lot of anxiety and stress in the hospitals among the medical.
I bet.
And Cheryl was saying that her mom's actually going back to work in a hospital on Monday. She's in her 60s.
Oh my goodness.
She's really worried because she's obviously old enough that that.
Yeah,
Yeah. So anyway.
absolutely. A lot of anxiety.
So.
Yeah.
Everybody
Unfortunately, I
hang
saw
in
an
there.
article of a nurse who got COVID and committed suicide over fears of spreading it. That's crazy.
So, any more questions for the good doc before we call it a night? If you want his information, or if you want us to get with him to see if he knows an acupuncturist in your area, go ahead and send us an email. Mimsies will put that up.
Link to the salve. Does it have any information on it?
It's by prescription only, though, isn't it?
I can get it for
Okay.
anybody who needs it.
Integrated hemp
Yes.
solutions.
It's out of North Carolina, and it works good.
Now, what would the price be for that, doc?
Something like that. I think's about 30-something bucks. I believe $39.
Yeah.
something like that.
So-
Lasts a little while.
Yeah. So if you want,
Well, that's a good while.
Yeah.
Since had this for quite a while.
Lasts a
Yeah.
little while.
if you guys want that salve, let me know. He'll get the order in. You can either send the money via to us, PayPal, and we'll pay the doc, or you can just, I don't know, send us a check, or you want to send the doc a check. Either which way,
We'll work
get
it out.
We'll work it out, and we'll get it to you. So I see you again on what, Monday, Tuesday?
Somewhere around.
Somewhere around in
Yeah,
there.
Monday or Tuesday.
And we'll get the exact price for that salve
Sure thing.
then. And so that way, and Robin and I will let you know either in the Big Bear. We'll probably let you guys know in the Big Bear Nation on Facebook. So if you're not a member of the Big Bear Nation on Facebook, come on over. Ask to join. Make sure you fill out those 3 questions.
Make sure to scroll down. That's the thing that I'm seeing is people are forgetting to answer the last one, which is basically that you agree to follow the rules and just be nice.
Yeah.
So
Be
if you'll
nice,
just make sure that you scroll down and fill that, because that's the one that, like, if we don't see that one, that's usually we kick it out and
Yeah.
resend it back to you.
Do you have a source for the drops? Can you get the
Yeah,
drops?
it's the same
It's the same
company.
Same company.
Yeah, and
Sure.
April's
Same
in
company.
like Jefferson area in Georgia, so
Oh,
she's
she's-
not far either. So
Okay, cool.
yeah.
Well, thank y'all for having me. I'd love to come back again.
Yeah,
Anytime.
you are
Awesome.
anytime.
Yeah, I hope
Anytime.
I was able to answer the questions
It looks like
halfway decent.
helped pretty well.
Yeah.
Link to the Facebook. Mimsy will get. Oh, it's right there. You just typed it in before she typed in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Totally lied when I answered the. Oh. Nate, you're not very nice.
Come back and stab Jason again.
Oh no. I'll do it. You know?
Dragon Sound says thanks for all the info.
Yeah.
You guys, we will probably be doing a lot with the doc through our social medias and stuff like that. I'm allowed to go. He's given me permission to go live anytime that when we're at his shop. So you'll probably be getting to know him a lot.
You stabbed Jason live.
And so, you know, and if we ever go to something where he tried, like he has this machine at his office. No, I wasn't talking about that one.
Oh.
I was talking about the one that you
Oh,
hear.
the
the
ultrasound.
The ultrasound. That one was cool.
Yeah,
That
I
one was
got
cool.
all kinds of little toys, all
Yeah.
kinds of little things.
Yeah.
And so this is just phase one, like he said.
That's
so
right. Just teasing y'all a little bit.
yeah.
Nate said, I still didn't see no needle the size of a knitting needle, like Jason said. Yes, Terry, I'll go ahead and send you that information.
So we'll get you that information. You guys send us that. If you want to the price on the drops or the salve.
Yes.
Why am I pulling this stuff over?
I
That's
don't
not how
know.
let us know, and we'll get with the doc and get that for you guys. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. And guys, just think, you do not have to take those narcotics. There are alternatives out there that you can investigate and do your own research and give them a go. I'm a big fan of his, super fan of his, and what he does for me and my family here, because it helps out overall. I mean, you guys know that when you're in pain, you can't be the easiest person in the world to get along with, because pain makes you grumpy. So
it does.
You know, so we are all thankful for the doc here at the Big Bear Homestead.
Thank y'all
Yes,
for
we
inviting
are.
me. I appreciate it.
We're very thankful.
So from Robin, the doc, and I, thank you guys for tuning in tonight, and we want to remind you to plant smiles,
Grow giggles,
and harvest the love. Be kind to one another, recycle, reuse, and repurpose, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Oh, I'm yawning while I say bye.
And I'm trying to hit the button.